India Revolution 2030 is a campus novel that talks about university system. You are a professor in this university. What do you want to say about that?
First of all, I am professor first, then novelist afterwards. It is my job as a writer, as a professor, to show the realities of the world. My responsibility as a writer cannot be suppressed, or you can say tempered by anyone or any group of people. You can say by any pressure. Though my vice chancellor got annoyed with me because of this novel, and she had marginalized me in university activities. Not only this, she always tries to cause harm to me and my career. And she has already created a problem for me in the university. Lastly, in this novel, I have shown the corruption in university system and student-teacher relationship, student-teacher politics, and to some extent internal departmental politics. It is completely a campus fiction.
Let's move forward, Professor. Your another marvelous novel, Love and Ego, that talks about the horrors of war. What's your opinion on war and the theme of this novel?
My novel, Love and Ego, talks about the ego of Russian President Putin and Ukrainian President Zelensky. War has always been a brutal reality, and it is because of ego, power and political pressures and political interests of kings, sometimes in the past of the lords and political leaders. The world has advanced in many fields, but unfortunately we are not solving our problems peacefully. I think dialogue and understanding are very much essential to restore normalcy and peace. You have seen the example of Mahabharata. In Mahabharata, Lord Krishna tried his level best to stop the war. But what did they get? Destruction. Nothing else. So in this novel, I discussed the effects of war. And I advised all the political leaders of the world that they must not be egoist. That's why title is Love and Ego.
The next question to you, sir. Your novels depict Indian history and politics. Your recent novel, Help for the People, is completely about Indian politics. What is it in reality?
First of all, I disagree with you because I wrote many novels about world politics and world history. In my novels, I had mentioned French Revolution also. And you just said that I have written the novel Love and Ego and Russian-Ukraine War. So how can you say that I only write about Indian politics and history? Secondly, I have been a student of political science in my bachelor's. Thirdly, there exists a very happy and close relationship between literature and history. All the writers generally they deal with the historical and political events. Students of literature, they know this fact that Duke of Marlborough, he learned the history of England from Shakespeare's plays, right? And I did my PhD on Khushwant Singh novels. And the topic was very interesting for my PhD. The topic was treatment of history in Indian English novels. And Khushwant Singh has depicted history, and I find impact of Khushwant Singh in my writings. And therefore, I write novels about history and politics. And no writer can himself or herself aloof from historical and political surroundings. And in many interviews, I have quoted the very famous concept of Maxim Gorky, who was a Russian writer, that the creative artist, they must be aware of politics and they must write about politics, right? And in this novel, I tried to present the history from Aurangzeb to present Modi regime. Even I have discussed Anna Hazare movement, emergency, Maneka Gandhi's oust from Indira Gandhi's family, and all these things I have shown. Even Godhra riots and post-Godhra riots I have discussed in this novel. This novel is completely historical and political novel, and I think you will like this novel.
So, I have watched your many interviews and studied your book on Indian knowledge system. What are your views on Indian knowledge system?
This book is not directly on Indian knowledge system, but it is a part of Indian knowledge system. I have discussed Indian poetics in this novel. Indian poetics means rasa theory, alankar, riti guna, and anumanya, gunadosh, all these concepts. Secondly, as an Indian English writer, I strongly believe that Indian knowledge will flourish in the coming years in literature if we do not change its original concept, its original sense. Choice of language doesn't matter, be it in Hindi and English. Secondly, we must focus on ancient learning. Aryabhatta's theory on the notion of planets, and Patanjali's yoga, right? And Charak's Ayurveda, and Panini's grammar. Panini is known for grammar, and Chanakya's Arthas for political leaders, for a good nation, how to govern a nation, how to rule a good nation. And in Indian politics, I have discussed all the concepts for the student literature, and this book is very popular, and I am very surprised that you have read the book. Thank you.
So, I myself is a writer with a slight hobby of watching Bollywood movies. You've written a book on Bollywood movies. What have you discussed in that book?
Have you read the book?
Yes.
Thank you. I have written a book on female gaze in Bollywood. In this book, I have analyzed some popular movies, and I think you might have watched all the movies.
Yes.
Gangubai Kathiawadi, Paglet, Lipstick Under My Burqa, Pink, No One Killed Jessica, and some web series also, I don't remember. And this book analyzes the movies from the perspective of female gaze. In the past few years, we have witnessed many movies, we have watched many movies that highlight women's empowerment and women's issues. So far as these movies are concerned, these movies talk about gender issues, gender equality, and they have established a conflict and completely different notion, revolutionary way. I am not explaining here in this interview what is male gaze and female gaze. It is completely literary question, literary answers. But I strongly say that there are very few, and very rare movies that talk about women on equal footing, unequal to man. That is why this book is very important. And when I was working on this movie, I visited Mumbai, and I met many film directors also, especially female directors.
We all know, sir, you are a very bold writer. You have written a book on LGBTQ+. What compelled you to write such a bold book openly?
For a long time, Rudrakshi, these queer people have fought for the rights to get recognized and accepted by the society. After the struggle of centuries, they have finally secured a place in the society. And we have recently witnessed a scene on the streets of London when these people of LGBT, they were staging a procession. They were very happy, a very beautiful scene. And I observed this scene very minutely, and I enjoyed it. But still, these queer people are not getting proper attention and in mainstream literature. Mainstream literature means English literature, Hindi literature, other literatures, they are mainstream literature. And history has been very unfair toward these queer people. In this book, I have critically analyzed 10 important texts. I use the word text. Text means novels and stories. And I have analyzed Oscar Wilde's very famous novel, The Picture of a Dorian Gray, Shobha Day's novel, The Strange Obsession, Ismet Chughtai's story, and novella, Lihaf, and Hoshang Merchant's autobiography, and Arundhati Ray's novel, Ministry of Utmost Happiness. And 10 writers I have discussed in this book. It is a critical book about queer people.